When Kendra Eads' heart stopped beating after breaking a glass storm door, Dewart Eads and his wife Leah did all they could to try and save her. But despite their best efforts, they were losing the battle to keep their 5-year-old granddaughter alive. EMT Mark Brem got to the scene within 4 minutes.
As we approached the residence, a gentleman out front flagged us over, and I'll never forget, very solemnly he looked at me and said, "I don't think she's going to make it."
Straight on back.
I checked her immediately for vitals to see if she had a pulse or any respiration. She had none.
Let's get her down to the floor.
I lowered her to the floor where we had room to work on her.
That blanket there, ma'am?
I asked my partner to start breathing for her with a bag valve mask.
Get ready to bag, Tom. We got CPR.
812, all incoming units. We've got child CPR going. Okay, but we're going to be late in traffic here.
Paramedic Mel McClure and his partner were still more than 5 miles away.
It was tremendously frustrating to be fighting the traffic, knowing they were doing CPR on this little girl. The thing that goes through my mind then is it possible for us to make it there in time?
The members from our engine company entered the house and hooked her up to 100% oxygen and to our heart monitor.
Stop CPR?
But there was no heart rhythm at all, no electrical activity at all, nothing that would keep that little person alive. 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
1, 2, 3. Good.
I wanted to trade places with her. I just didn't want this perfect little girl to have to go through something like this. And I can just see her slipping away.
Bag. After a few cycles of CPR, we'll stop and check for a pulse. And if there's no activity at all, we'll just continue CPR. You never want to give up. You never want to quit.
When the paramedics arrived, they immediately commenced advanced life support.
When we walked in, I looked at the monitor. It was flatline. To me, that said that she had bled to death. We took the attitude that we were going to resuscitate this little girl. We wanted to be very aggressive and bring her back.
The first problem was how to replenish the massive blood loss.
It was more than just dripping fluids. We were squeezing the bags to force it in as rapidly as we could.
Okay. Everybody quiet so Tom can listen to breath sounds. Full chest compression.
The chances of surviving from traumatic cardiac arrest is pretty grim. It's very hard to work on a dead 5-year-old girl. Very hard. Everyone's emotional pitch is tuned up to a higher degree. Everybody wants to save this little girl. And all the time there's a voice in the back of your head saying, go, go, go.
After more than 10 minutes, they finally got a sign of life.
Gentlemen, I got a pulse. All right.
5-year-old Kendra was then taken to a landing zone set up at a nearby school, where a helicopter was waiting to transport her to a trauma center 20 miles away.
When we loaded her into the helicopter, we all felt just a real sense of accomplishment. And I took a report over to the truck and happened to overhear the radio transmission to the hospital.
And I heard a clipboard slam against the ground. And I turned around to look at Mel, and he said he just heard over the radio that they started CPR in the helicopter.
And I walked away from the truck and looked at the guys and just said, we lost her. We'd gotten that far, and she died anyway.
The flight nurses managed to restart her heart one more time. The little girl was admitted to Harborview Medical Center under the care of trauma surgeon Timothy Pullman.
She was in critical condition. In a situation like this, death can occur very quickly. It's imperative to get them quickly to the operating room.
We need to press from here to here.
Kendra's parents, Kathy and Alan Eads, rushed to the hospital as soon as they heard what had happened.
It's just a horrible feeling of just sitting there waiting. You feel very numb, just waiting for word of how she's doing. I just kept thinking, my Kendra, my little baby.
Okay, let's go. We first encountered bleeding from a severed artery, which we were able to stop very easily. From there, we proceeded to open her abdomen, thinking the next injury would be in her abdomen from the stab wound. But when we opened her abdomen, she then sustained her third cardiac arrest, and I was certain that she was not going to survive and make it off the table. In desperation, we opened the left side of her chest, and we found a piece of glass that was protruding from the heart. We were very surprised. I've never encountered a patient with a piece of glass sticking out of her heart.
Hi. Hi, I'm Dr. Pullman. I'm operated on Kendra.
I told Kendra's mother and father that I didn't think there was better than a 25% chance that she would survive, and that if she did survive, Kendra would probably have brain damage from the period when her heart had stopped pumping blood to her brain.
We saw her being wheeled out of the elevator, covered in white sheets with tubes hanging and her eyes closed, and her hands were blood-stained, and it was an awful thing to see.
Kendra was transferred to Children's Hospital and Medical Center, where she was placed in a drug-induced coma to give her the best chance to heal.
We didn't know if she could hear us, so we talked to her like she could. I told her that I loved her, that I was with her.
We were at her bedside all the time, from 6:30 in the morning till 10 at night, and in the evenings we slept in a motorhome out in the parking lot. If she woke up and asked for us, we wanted to be right there to comfort her.
As the days went by, Kendra's condition began to deteriorate. A medical team, including cardiologist Isamu Kawabori, discovered that the wound in her heart wasn't healing.
We were able to inject a special dye, and we could see the heart chambers, and we could see that hole was very large and causing her heart to fail. And so this was also affecting her lungs and her other organ systems.
Kendra needed emergency surgery, but there was a chance her heart might be too weak to survive it.
I had no idea. I had no idea if I was going to see her or not. See her alive again.
Kendra Eads underwent 4 hours of delicate open-heart surgery. 2 months later, she made an amazing recovery.
Kendra has no restrictions on her play. She can do everything that all the other kids can do.
There are a lot of people involved in how well she's doing now. There's hardly any words to express how grateful we are to them for bringing back our daughter.
A lot of people helped me, and I'm happy about that.
There's no way that I can ever repay what they did. I am very thankful. They gave me my little girl back.
The real heroes here were the grandparents, because they were the ones that started the rescue breathing for this little girl. That bought us the time that we needed to save her.
Every person, every mother, every father, every child who's old enough should know CPR, not only adult CPR, but infant and child CPR as well.
That's good. They took me to the hospital and got me all better so I could go home like I am now. I'm glad I'm home now so I can play with my brother. You shouldn't eat air. You should eat food or stuff like that.
When I see her playing, I just want to sit and soak it in and realize what a miracle she is. I just love her with all my heart.